Hello, what's up, and welcome to a Jump Inside podcast. Now, normally, as we get started in this podcast, normally I'd invite loads of other people here and all that kind of stuff. But at the time I was recording, I just wasn't in the mood. There was a lot going on. I needed to take a break. A small break. You'll see that break on my channel. If you look at my videos, you'll see where I've gone like, oh yeah, I need a break. Because I do this thing constantly, and I love doing it. But I needed a small break just to level myself out. But you know, I'm back from it, and I kind of want to get this podcast out, but it was quite late of recording this, so you might notice that it's just me here. That's fine. By the way, it's me, you, in a spreadsheet. That's where we're at right now. This is my beautiful spreadsheet. This is called the game release spreadsheet, because this is all the games that released between 2001 and what potentially might come out in the future. Now, I like... a lot of these games. A lot of these games on the left here. These are games that I'd naturally just buy because I like them. They are games that I love. From Call of Duty that I've played a few of them. Things like Kingdom Come Deliverance, Gears of War, Halo, Far Cry, all that kind of stuff. These are my tier game list. I don't know what your tier game list is. I'd love to know, but this is my tier game list. So yeah, let's just go with this. And as I'm looking at this, I'll explain some things about this. The blue areas are where games didn't release in those particular years. They may have had books, they may have had add-ons, but they definitely didn't come out with the big major plot game, if that makes sense. Their big, massive AAA didn't do that. These red markers here, that's COVID-19. So you won't see anything happening COVID-19. Over the end here, this is the future thing. If there's a red marker, I'm pretty darn sure that they're not going to release anything on those red markers. These companies may have been closed down or something, so the chance of these bringing a game out anytime soon, not going to happen. The yellow markers are rumors out there that they could be releasing. These ones here, these are dedicated releases. They definitely will come out at some point very close to the near future. And then these blue ones, I have no idea. I have no clue between this one. Because like Kingdom Come Deliverance, it will have just come out. I would have no idea if that's going to come out next year. I don't think it will. I'm pretty sure it won't. I don't know what their plans are. But they've got a game coming out this year, and whatever happens in that game will probably give me some information if they are going to continue it or not. I have no idea. It's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. If they're going to make a third one, they haven't released number 2, so give them time. Give them time. So let's take a look at this. And by the way, anything white is a game. It's basically a game, and you know, I love it. Okay, so we'll start off. Okay, with Halo, we'll give you Halo an example of this, because you know there are some things that I absolutely love about Halo. By the way, I'm gonna do a thing on this form, so I'm gonna go to the top over here. I'm gonna mark this as black with white text, just so, and then make it bold, just so it stands out a bit, so you don't get that kind of like, oh yeah, I see what he's doing. There's the ears, and it's separating from these ones here a little bit more. Okay, so Halo 1 got released in 2001. Brilliant game, absolute masterpiece, loved it, awesome, well done. And then from there, we're gonna move on. 2004 is where a lot of stuff happened in the gaming industry. A lot of things were just starting to kick off. Then more things will happen as we proceed. Between 2004 and 2007, we're going to see a lot of stuff happen. I don't know what was there. I imagine that was a game. I'm going to mark that in blue, but there was probably something there, and I probably demarked it. So 2004 was a good thing. It was starting to kick off loads of different franchises. We had things like Red Dead Revolver for Rockstar, but for Halo, we had Halo 2. It just released an awesome game in Halo 1, and then Halo 2 just went, boom, look, we did it once, we can do it again. And it did it with such style. And I think this is kind of, these, like, Grand Theft Auto and Halo, they are the originals that kick things off. This is the original shooter. This is the original free roam, open world free roam game. These are why these games are so big, because of Grand Theft Auto 3 and Halo Combat Evolved. Everything else grew from there, and you'll start to see this pattern. And then you had things like Halo 3 came out in 2007. Yeah. So just when other games were starting to like come out and starting to make their own franchise of a company, Halo went, you know what? I'm gonna make my third game. So it's already on its third game legs. Right, so it's brilliant. It's good. If you played that game to the ending, you're like, oh, they've kind of tried to wrap it up, and they went, nah, let's add some more. So they released in 2009, and I absolutely love this. You start getting Halo Wars, you start getting Halo Reach. They start doing callbacks, they start doing extra stuff. Anniversary, Halo 4, Massive Collection, Halo 5, all the way to 2017, which is Halo Wars 2. So you had a big thing of Halo between 2009 all the way to 2017. So these years for Halo fans, you loving it, absolutely loving it. And you probably just grow, if you grow out of gaming, you probably grow out of it somewhere between these times. But like, between those times, you just had Halo after Halo after Halo. It was a good place to be at. It was a very good place to be. And, you know, it lasted 2017. After that, you had like 1 year gaps between 2008 and 2016. So you had like 1, 2, 3. You had 3 gap years. That was it. That was it for Halo. It's like, nah. It's like you're getting a lot of Halo between now and 2017. After Halo Wars 2, you'd have to wait 3 years until in the middle of COVID, accordingly, we had Halo Infinite. Now, Halo Infinite came out in 2001, so it took a good few years for them to bring it out. And then that was it. That's been it for a while. It's just there's a bit of a blank state here and there. So between between 2007 and 2017, you've just got a big run of Halo games with only 3 gap years. Now it's turns the complete opposite, where between 2018 and 2004, you've only got 1 game with 6 gap years. Now, are they going to do a Halo 6? I think they will do. I think there's a 100% chance that they will definitely get around to doing a Halo 6 at some point. But for me, right now, on my point proven, between 2017 and 2007, this big year, the three gap years maximum. Between 2018 and 2024, 6 gap years, and only 1 game release. So yeah, it's big, massive 6-year thingy going on here, and I can kind of tell. With this, as a lot of COVID stuff. Like, development must have had to end immediately straight after Infinity because, you know, staff-wise and all that kind of stuff, working from home work, and then after that, you come out of that with 2002, 2003, 2004, where you're like, okay, now we need to slowly rebuild some of our franchise. I feel like we're gonna see something from Halo very soon. But you've also got to keep in mind that I'm thinking that there may be something potentially in the future, but they are doing their Halo series on Paramount Plus. So they went from, oh yeah, it's COVID stuff, game stuff, and then went, oh, let's make a TV series and let's release 2 of them. So between these 2 years, we've kind of like Halo TV series stuff. Okay, so you know, Halo isn't dying; it's just changing the way it's creating things. So we do have TV series of that, but. Yeah, for game-wise, I imagine that they will do something. But they don't need to. They're fine. They're okay. So they're still loaded. They're still doing their thing. They're still kind of like game ideas and film ideas and all that kind of stuff. They can do whatever they like with it. Yeah, I can imagine that having just a bit of a gap right now, they could make their next game really nice and bring up the series while they're waiting for the next game. That could generally be it. Okay, we'll move on to, you'll like this one. This one's Rockstar, and surprisingly enough, it's not as bad as you think, but it is still quite bad. So, 2001, GTA 3, 2002, Vice City, 2004, Red Dead Revolver, and San Andreas came out in 2005. So, between those 2, there was 1 gap year. Then we got another 2 gap years, and then we had Bully and Grand Theft Auto 4 come out on the same year. They probably could have spread that out and released them like that, so they'd have like 4 games in a row across 4 years. And keep in mind, these guys are making big games, like big open world free roam games. These games are awesome. Absolutely love these games. And then there's another gap here. We get Grand Theft Auto 5, their big one there. Oh yes, and at this stage, you're quite used to, you know, Rockstar going, oh yeah, you know what? I'll release the big Grand Theft Auto game. Wait a little while, release the next Grand Theft Auto game. Wait a little while, release the next Grand Theft Auto game, and then release a little bit longer because we're getting more advanced, and then release the next Grand Theft Auto game. And then we're expecting, oh yeah, wait a little while, release the next Grand Theft Auto game. Wait, what? That's Red Dead Redemption 2? Where's Grand Theft Auto? Why are we so waiting for Grand Theft Auto to come out? Now, I do understand that there is a COVID issue here, but for the years that COVID doesn't exist, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 years of creating Grand Theft Auto without having to worry any part about COVID. It's just like, there's a lot of space here. By the way, yeah, if you're not quite sure, Rockstar has studios all over the world, like the things. This company that makes Rockstar Red Dead Redemption 2, they are not the same. They're not the same creators that make the game, that are responsible for the game Grand Theft Auto 5. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is its own studio. So they've been taking a very long time creating Grand Theft Auto 6. So I imagine they released this game. There was a little bit of time where they were planning DLCs and stuff. And then maybe with 2007, 2019, 2003, and 2004, they really had their mindset focused on creating the next game with a little bit of COVID in between. Probably it did affect a lot of studios. So whereas you're probably seeing like I can see as well, like a major gap here. They've probably been building this super massive, realistic, massive open world city thing probably since 2017. They probably started it in 2017 properly. I mean, that's what I imagine. It might not be the case, but as you can see, there was a lot of stuff going on here with the COVID, and you know, if they were more interested in getting more DLCs out there, then their time gap could be from here to here. It just could be the thing. And then give them a bit of a gap between Red Dead Redemption to give that a bit of a call off. But if you just count the blues, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 7 blues, yeah? This is not the first time I don't think Rockstar's done 7 blues, is it? Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So if you discount COVID and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's an 8-year gap between GTA 5 and GTA 6. However, with Red Dead Redemption 2, you've also got quite a gap. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7-year gap. So, yeah, Rockstar put a lot of time and effort into creating their games because, you know, they're massive. And, you know, I don't know why they take that long. But I'm seeing a 7-year trend here. Or 8-year trend. I imagine after Grand Theft Auto gets released, we're going to have to wait another 4 years until we see their next game. So if Grand Theft Auto 6 releases in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. No way. So 2030 would then be the next predicted game release year, or somewhere around there. Between 2030 and 2032. So we ain't going to see anything in this century. We're going to be getting our next console before we see the next Rockstar game. All right, that's what I'm getting. Okay. Far Cry. Now, we're going to move into Far Cry. Far Cry is a lovely little interesting thing. And I generally feel like that we're going to see something on Far Cry either at this game announcement coming in June or the next game announcement next year. Or something, yeah. Because like, you just follow me along. Their first game release was in 2007, and then we got some gap, and then their second, the best game that they've ever released, number 2, came out in 2011. Because and then they made an even. Then they made an equalizer with that game, which is Far Cry 3. I know. I was kept on wondering which one's the best one, number 2 or number 3. For me, that's just a thing. Actually, I'm in the wrong area, aren't I? There you go. Far Cry 1, Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3. Yeah. So you've got 3 gap years between both of these games. Far Cry 4, which I didn't think was that good, it had a bit of a gap year between here. It had 1 gap year. I don't know how they made that game. Maybe, I'm not quite sure, but they didn't take that long to get number 4 out. Number 5 was a bit more interesting. It's another 3 years there. And then number 6, which came out again in the middle of the COVID years, it was a 2-year waiting gap. So because their maximum is like a 3-year waiting gap, I can imagine we're going to hear something from them shortly. Like I don't know if it's this year or next year, but I feel like if this is the pattern that they're doing, I feel like we're going to very much hear a Far Cry 7, and it's going to be interesting. This game has to be a little bit better than the previous few. So yeah, Far Cry 6. Can't wait to see what they're going to do in Far Cry 7. I imagine that they're working on it. It seems like it's one of their more open world, free roam, big seller games. So yeah, let's hope that Far Cry 7 is good, because it needs to be. Yeah. Then we'll move over to The Witcher. The Witcher's an interesting one because it's Netflix. It's now Netflix. I'll explain what I think's going on with The Witcher. So it released its first game in 2007, which, by the way, never played. I really hope they remaster that. I think they're doing a remaster. I'm not too sure. But like, yeah, Witcher 1 came out in 2007. Then Witcher 2, which everyone played because it, massive game. That came out in 2011. And then we had the third game come out in 2015. Still one of the best looking games ever made in the world. By the way, 2015 was a great year for gaming. I'll go into that in just a bit. And then that left a bit of a gap between here and whatever they got in the future. Now, I say there's a bit of a gap, and of course, COVID definitely comes into play between now and whatever they're going to do. I imagine we might hear something because I feel like they're working on Witcher 4 and a remaster of Witcher 1. But like, yeah, between 3 and whatever number 4 is going to be, big gap. But then again, at the same time, Netflix comes into play. They released their series on Netflix while they're probably trying to transform and do something cool with their franchise. Now, when I played number 2 and number 3, both games were top of the notch, super class, awesome. If they can pull off the same thing with number 4, then I'm definitely okay with them taking as long as time as possible. I've got Netflix if I want to watch more Witcher. However, I do want to play The Witcher at some point, but I'm kind of okay with these guys. These guys are like, yeah, we'll make it when we're good and ready. And that I appreciate, because you don't get that a lot in video games. You get like games like, yeah, let's try and rush our games or something. And it's just like, I don't care if you take a year, 2 years, 10 years to make a game. If it's not good, I'm not going to play it. So make sure that your game's good. Also, it does matter if it's 10 years. Sorry, I take that back. If you are quite a long time apart from the previous game, and the previous game isn't as memorable, I feel like, I'm not really going to be that interested. Like, we'll get to Starfield in a minute. I'll explain my issue with Starfield. But, like, yeah, there you go. Witcher, it brings up series why, I like that. That's really cool. Okay, we'll move on to the next game, which is Dragon Age and Mass Effect. I'm going to put them both in the same thing because I feel like they're part of the same universe, if you know where I'm coming from. So, Mass Effect 1 came out in 2007. Then we had like a Dragon Age come out in 2009, and that started kind of this Dragon Age Mass Effect saga all the way to 2017. So it went like 2007 all the way to 2017. It was just a big 10-year gap of game releases for BioWare. They loved their games and they went for it. And we had Mass Effect 1, Dragon Age, Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age 2, Mass Effect 3, Dragon Age Inquisition. And then we had a bit of a 2-year gap year going, oh, what's happening here? And then we went, oh, 2017, Mass Effect Andromeda. It was good. And yes, so a lot of people hate that game. I can see why. However, for me, when I played it, I had to play it with my Mass Effect head on. And I went, I know exactly what they're doing in that game. They are testing out the waters. They are putting everything that they can think of that could possibly they want in a Mass Effect 4 game, and we'll dump it all into this game, see what people like, see what people hate, take all the notes, and when we create Mass Effect 4, we're going to make it perfect because we know all the details from Mass Effect Andromeda. And again, if we hear something from the BioWare team, which I know, which I'm pretty sure we're going to hear something from Dragon Age Dreadwolf this year, that is a 4-year waiting gap if you disinclude, again, COVID. So it's not that long of a wait. If you put COVID into all these equations, you'll start to notice a pattern here. COVID did take a pretty big effect. So yeah, and then we are gonna get a Mass Effect 4. We are gonna get a Dragon Age Dreadwolf. It's just like they are just like dropping loads of teasers on that game, waiting and keeping us anticipated. I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't released a series, and if they did, I would imagine they release it on. I'd really like them to release it on not Netflix, but Paramount Plus. I feel like the style that Paramount Plus goes for could really benefit the BioWare area. I feel like that's totally them. I always think Amazon Prime could do some justice with that series. I don't think Netflix would. I feel like Netflix might just take Mass Effect into a whole darker area, whereas that's not what they were at. That was Star Wars. They're not that. They want to be a bit of a light to the world. They want to make it, like all races got on with each other. So I'd imagine if they did come out with the series, they'd release it on either Prime or they release it on Paramount Plus, because I feel like Paramount Plus could, for them, be a bit of that kind of like more happier tone. I feel like that's what you get out of certain things. Like it's a style. It's a style, and Paramount Plus is a very nice place for style. Next we'll go down to Bethesda, because Bethesda, because Bethesda was lovely. Bethesda's a lovely place. It's a good, lovely place. I don't know why there's an empty gap there. We're going to fill that empty gap in. I don't know why that's there. Maybe it was a mistake. I don't know. We had Oblivion. Came out in 2006. Now, I know what you're going to say. There was Morrowind as well, but I stepped in Oblivion. So, yeah. So, anyone who's a fan of Morrowind, awesome. Love you guys. Because, that game is responsible for everything. But Oblivion was perfect in every way. I remember playing Oblivion at the time. Because to be aware, so far in video games, the big major ones, we've had GTA 3, Vice City, Halo Combat Evolved, Red Dead Revolver, Halo 2, Far Cry, Call of Duty, and Fable, and Rockstar San Andreas and Call of Duty. Now, since all that kind of time, and I'll just go into this. This is just kind of my thing. Between that kind of time, we never really knew about the realm or the, I don't know, they kind of like the being able to own property properly. I mean, GTA, you could buy and change your outfits and buy cars and own your own places. It's great. At Fable, you could kind of do the same thing as well, but it wasn't that big, like massive, getting from place to place in Fable, you'd have to go through a loading screen, and Rockstar was the only general company that was doing it, but they were doing it in a modern world. I think you had World of Warcraft in the background of doing some type of stuff, like the big massive freedom games, but nothing really felt personal until Oblivion hit my screen, because Oblivion would be the first game that I'd just walk around in and look at things. And I remember looking at certain shops. I remember being in like a place just like studying. I saw Oblivion. I was like, I can buy property on this game. Like, I can physically, but I mean, to me, that you could only do in Grand Theft Auto at the time. I was like, This game was like, you can go and buy property. You can walk around the city and not get into fights. There are general civilians here that you can actually properly interact with and talk to. You can bet on matches in an arena. How cool was that? Just like being able to go into this world that felt so alive. It was just generally a competitor. And they didn't stop with Oblivion. They went to Fallout, which was, again, great. With one gap year in between that, by the way. They really went for Fallout 3. And the story in that was amazing. And they got Liam Neeson to play the dad, which is very, very cool. I mean, he was hardly ever in it, but every single line was perfection. And then we'd have another gap year, and then we'd immediately get another Fallout game, Fallout Vegas, along with Skyrim the following year. So we kind of had this 4-game release between 2006 2011, where we just see Bethesda just do magic on video games, allowing you to have a full-on freedom experience to do whatever the heck you liked. And then that's where the gap year started coming in, because between then and I don't count online games in this segment, so I don't do Elder Scrolls Online or Fallout 76. But we do have 3-year gap year between the next proper release game, which would be Fallout 4. But that between Starfield, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a 7-year wait gap. But again, COVID comes into play, so I'm going to count that as 4. So it generally, they came out with Starfield, like, I imagine there's a bit of DLC creation that they kind of had planned maybe beforehand, and they were just like maybe some polishing some stuff up and updating the game. But I say 3 years majorly, they must have had a lot of work going into Starfield. So Starfield didn't take as long as, you know, you would originally think. It like, if you discount like COVID, it could have possibly came out in 2001, but just, you know, timing was just, yeah, pushed back a lot probably. That's what I imagine. Anyway, that was the thing. That was the thing. And then so Starfield came out, and then we now know that Elder Scrolls is gonna be coming around the corner. I mean, we will have to wait for Elder Scrolls 6, but I don't think they're gonna be doing anything with that anytime soon. I feel like Starfield is gonna go through a few updates, but I imagine it's gonna be a 4 or 5 year wait before we get Elder Scrolls 6. It's a 4 or 5 year wait, and we're in 2003 now. I imagine it's something like 2028 or 2029. I imagine that would be probably more the focused release dates for that game. But it is in planning, so it could surprise me, and it could come out in something like 2026 or something. It could be the case. Yeah, so we're not really looking to like. Yeah, I don't know. We're not looking at a lot of things like pushing back a lot. We're looking at things going like, oh yeah, there was a bit of a thing going on, but apart from that, everything was kind of like, yeah, release. I don't know where I'm at right now. This is the Elder Scrolls 6 is probably going to come out in like 2006 or something, or 7 or 8. It's going to happen one of those years. I imagine so. That's what I imagine, because I feel like now that, you know, all the issues have passed, now we're going to get back into a lot of this good gaming stuff. We'll move on to the next game. The next game that we've got on our list is Fable. Fable's a very interesting franchise. Fable 1 came out in 2004. Beautiful game. You could possibly start buying property, but we wouldn't really see Fable really hit its marks until 2008, where Fable 2 came out and was just pure excellent. And then we'd wait a gap year, and then we'd get Fable 3, which would come out in 2010. Now, I know they had an anniversary game at some point, but if you really count between Fable 3 and when the next Fable game is coming out, this is probably the longest wait. And it's done so because I think it was Xbox closed down the Lionhead Studios or something. I can't remember what the story was, but Lionhead Studios closed down. And I don't know why, because these were some of my favorite creators. I imagine if they didn't close down and they got lots of income and sorted it all out, they'd have released 4 or 5 at this point by now, and they would have been excellent games. Fable is just a love. It's pure awesomeness. But that and what we've got coming out, let's say it comes out in 2005 or maybe late 2004. We have had to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 until Fable 4. It would have been, it's crazy long the wait time. So if you're like, oh yeah, Rock's GTA 5 is taking a long time to GTA 6, you got to keep in mind Red Dead Redemption came out, so the kind of the major gap is here, and it's only a 3-year gap if it comes out between Red Dead Redemption and GTA 6, if you disinclude COVID in this situation. But for Fable, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's already passed 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years disincluding COVID, and it's just, that's a long wait time. Like, are we still going to remember? Are they going to be good creators? I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen with Fable games, but yeah. Fable was a good game. Don't know why they closed down the studio, but they did that, and now we got a new creators creating it. Why are they taking so long? I don't know. But anyway. All right, moving on to the next game. This is Saints Row, and Saints Row, well, what can I say with Saints Row? Number 1 and number 2 were great between 2006 and 2008. That absolutely amazing. Really did well. Number 3 really changed it up. Some say for the good, some say for the worst. I'll leave it up to you, whatever you think about that. And then number 4 did the same thing, and they thought it could work. So number 1 and number 2 were set in the same city, so they released number 3, and they went, oh, number 4, yeah, we can just release it in the same city. That's going to work. No. Not what you did to that game. No, you did not. No, that's not what I... Yeah. So 1, 2, awesome, but they had a more realistic, fun style to them. This was more like a wacky style to the game. Then they did God of Hell, which is what the hell happened into that game. Nobody knows. It's a game. It exists. I don't know where to place that as anything. And then we'd have in between here and there, the longest wait gap we'd have was a 2-year gap. So whether you like these games or hate these games, we didn't have to wait for long for the next sequel of those games to come out. Then between this and the remake, if you count COVID, that it feels like 4, 5, 6, 7 years. If you disinclude it, 4 years. 4 years is kind of like your wait time, which is still quite a long time. And to get what they did in 2003 with the remake of Saints Row, like, no, I didn't like it at all. No, just no. By the way, and I do know the Agents of Mayhem or something. Is it Agents of Mayhem that they did? I'm not counting that in this situation really, because it feels like an add-on of an add-on, or a game add-on of an add-on of an add-on. It feels like it's just going into a crazy nightmare area. But the remake came out, and I don't know where to place that in my head. I don't know if I like that game. It was good on gameplay, but the story really suffered. That's my own opinion. I don't know. You might like it. If you like it, awesome. If you don't like it, that's your own opinion. It's it's whatever you make. We're going to Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a fun one. Because Call of Duty doesn't care about anything. It just cares about releasing, and you'll get this. So for Call of Duty, we had number 1 in 2003. Then we had a gap year, and number 2 came out in 2005. And then it just didn't care. It just went, you know what? We're just going to train. 3, Modern Warfare, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Ghost, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Infinity Warfare, World War 2, Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare, Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, those 2 again, and then, oh yeah, with including Modern Warfare there as well. And then we got Black Ops 6 according to come out. Now, when I say that all, between 2003 and 2004, we've had 1 gap year. Call of Duty like making games. I'm just going to put it out there. I know they've probably got multiple studios, but they got multiple studios that just love making games and just bring them out and out and out and out. So without a doubt, and I don't know if it's nothing's really mentioned, but it's very obvious that they're going to release another Call of Duty next year, and they'll just keep doing that for the rest of their lives. It's like, I don't know, like they have had years of just going bash, 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 more. It's going to be very similar to our next game. We're going to go to Assassin's Creed right now. Assassin's Creed was a fun one. Assassin's Creed game didn't come out right at the beginning of the party. It came out. It was like just it was like the last of the first ones, and its first game came out in 2007. Brilliant game, and then it just had a run with it for a while. It went 2 Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, 4. They did 2 in a row, which would be, but the main one was Unity in that segment, and then we had Syndicate, and then with a gap year we had Origins and Odyssey, and another gap year we had Valhalla. So between 2007 and 2020 we've had 1 gap years here and there. We even had 3 of them in total. They went, and it's just a line of release. Valhalla between Mirage, now that those were 2 gap years. That's the longest gap year that we've had for those games. I'm guessing though, because it was in a red zone, I'm guessing COVID really came into play. However, it didn't do much because they still released Mirage in 2003. So, that's the thing. We'll move on to the next game, which will be, which one is it? Oh yes, we're on Gears of War next. Gears of War's a fun one. Never really played a lot of Gears of War. I played Gears of War 1 and 2. I was going to play 3. I played a bit of Judgment, but not too much of it. But I'll just go into it. 2006, Gears of War 1. 2008, number 2. 2011, number 3, with 2 gap years. 1 gap year again, and then we got 2013 with Judgment. 2 gap years, and we get number 4. 2 gap years, and we get number 5. All right. If you want to work it out, and if you're a big fan of Gears of War, I've never played the game. I don't know what's happening. Is there going to be a sequel? I don't know. But if there is, I think we'd see one soonish. I feel like they need to change characters. I don't know, because I've never played number 5. I don't know if there's who's alive and who's not alive in that series anymore. But yeah, maybe they need to just revamp that series up a little bit. But I would imagine between the gap years there, that right now, if you don't include COVID, they've only had 2 gap years. So we could be seeing another one shortly, maybe. I don't know what they're going to do to it. They could do anything they want. It's up to them. But yeah, Gears of War, beautiful game. I'm looking forward to seeing if it does actually have a sequel. All right, next we're going to talk about one of my favorite games, and it's Kingdom Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come Deliverance came late to the party, but it did it in style. As a knight on a horse, it was Kingdom Come Deliverance. First one came out in 2018, and with a little bit of development, they got their second game coming out. Ooh, I'm very excited for this. I've left this one in blue because I have no idea what they're going to do. They haven't released this game yet, so I'm not going to force any assumptions onto anything they're going to do. But yeah, beautiful development on that particular game. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Dead Rising. Dead Rising's a fun one. We like a Dead Rising. I do like a Dead Rising. Dead Rising 1 came out in 2006, and Dead Rising 2 came out in 2008. And then Dead Rising 3 came out in 2013. Dead Rising 4 came out in 2016. Now, they got developed at Capcom Vancouver, and Capcom Vancouver is closed down. However, between those games, there was a 308 gap between 1 and 2, but for the rest of them, there was like a 208 gap each. So, from whatever you say, like, they were just on it. They like creating their stuff. Was their stuff good? It's up to you. I don't know. It's up to you. It's whether you enjoyed it or not. But I don't know. I'm not too... Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things. So if I actually, like... I don't know where I can put some of this stuff. If I put Infinity... So I'm going to mix up this calendar just a little bit. So I'm going to dupe this calendar down here. And we're just going to edit this a little bit. We'll move 2000... We'll just say that they come out over here. Yeah, and then... we'll move that one to the side over there. We'll just do that. And then with these 3, we're just going to remove them. I'm going to in-collapse that, just so we're not including COVID in this kind of like segment here. Where are the gaps? Where are the big gaps? Are they near this area or are they near this area? If I had to say where the gaps were, I think I'd say we're definitely more in this area. There's a lot of gaps in this area. There's a lot of foyer gaps. And this is what has me a little bit like when you look at a game release like this, yes, there was a lovely time when games were just starting to come out and they were loving it and they kept releasing games and just for the fun of it, and it's really good. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to remove Call of Duty from this whole situation here, just because and I'm going to remove Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed coming over here. This makes it a bit more visible of what I'm actually trying to look at and explaining. So between here and here, it was like, oh yeah, let's release game after game after game. Absolutely loved it. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Loved all those games. And then after that, we're starting to see more gap years. Like there was a lot of 4 years, lots of 6 years, lots of again 4s and things. Some of them were 2. No, they weren't. That's 3. That's 4. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, very rarely you'd probably see something quite small of a gap here, but you're gonna see that if you count all the games that come out in here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you come over this side, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So somewhat half in the more upcoming years of stuff, because yeah, that's just a thing. I think I was a little bit wrong. See, because I was a little bit worried thinking, okay, these games are coming out, they're taking a while to come out, and I'm looking at them all, I'm going, yeah, but they need to speed it up, because like we're getting to an age where the graphics are getting better, and I feel like some areas where they're carrying just a bit more on graphics and less on gameplay, and I'm like, are they going to take longer the more the graphical these games are going to get, because they have to physically build them inside like game worlds, and they have to make sure, and and things take time as they design things, and the more digital things get, the more we can design things in certain areas. Like it just feels like the gaps are getting bigger. However, that is not the case. Like as you can see on this thing over here was probably our biggest gap here, because like these are the games just starting to come out, but as soon as they're on the market, there was that big flux in going like, okay, let's release everything all at once. And then down here was this more relaxed period where they still release games. It would just take a little while for them to, come out and be in front of us. Because it takes a while to design your games. And I feel like they haven't stopped. There's just more patience and more relaxing and more kind of like going like, okay, what's happening here? How is this all working out? So yeah, that's kind of the baseline of that. Also, what you've also got to imagine is between the time of COVID and the previous Xbox and the current Xbox that we're all on, because it was such an interesting build, they couldn't release them. You couldn't buy one all at once. Like they released in stages. I couldn't buy mine at one point because there was none for sale, and then eventually I got mine. Which is, I think now we're pretty much all on the Xbox Series X's or PS5s, which is a good thing, because now that games are starting to realize this, and now that COVID's gone and out of the way with, I feel like we're gonna start hitting this area again. Yes, it lasted to 2015, and it was like this big kind of game year, but after 2015, the next console was on the horizon, but they could only release so many, and also you've also had to deal with a lot of stuff from COVID as well. So that's just kind of the thing. So because that was such an impactful thing, I feel like we're eventually going to see a lot more games hitting kind of like this mark again at some point, especially with the rumored games. And we know GTA 6 Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Elder Scrolls 6, and Fable are all set to come right around the corner, with a lot of other indie games as well. I just feel like we're slowly... I think we're going to get back into that stage where everything's going to be good and golden again, and we're going to have a lot more games in front of us. However, just at the moment in time, it just feels a bit flat at this current point. I don't feel like we haven't got to that purely everything's released stage. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm seeing things. I feel like we are going to get this back again, but at the moment we're going to have to just get a few gap years because of, like, you know, people owning consoles and, you know, illnesses around offices and all that kind of stuff. But now that that's gone, and now that people are starting to recover from this situation, I think we could potentially see this type of trend happen again quite soon. If you count the fact that we've got 4 games coming out here, I feel like we're at least 2 years away, because, you know, like, this is where it started really hitting. So I wonder if that kind of repeats in that kind of segment, maybe we're going to see some more stuff very shortly. Yeah. All right. That's where I stand with that. Tell me what you think. Are games getting longer to release? Question 1. And B, at the same time, we're going to go with... do you think we're going to see a game flux happen where we're going to be able to see lots more games coming out very soon? Because right now I'm seeing this, especially with these big AAA games, and then I'm going to be seeing, I don't know, we'll be seeing the next wave of this to come quite soon. I imagine that's going to come quite soon. I imagine GTA 6 is going to lead this. If this is going to come out next year, that gives these companies a chance to develop and really bring out their games in the following year. So I imagine that we're going to start seeing a lot more big games coming out very soon. And I'm excited for that. Anyway, that's the podcast for you right there. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy, again, you know, chat to me. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. Are you liking me have a bit of a discussion or not? Tell me your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear from you. And without no further ado, I'm going to leave now and going to say thanks for watching and goodbye. By the way, don't forget to join the Discord server. The links are in the description down below. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.